Hello, and welcome to the premiere episode of Wine in 9. I'm your host, Bob Cappuccino. Yeah, a name like Cappuccino can't be more coffee. But name notwithstanding, I like coffee, but I love wine. And it's what I do for a living, and I enjoy every minute of it. Wine is my life's passion, and it's never, ever disappointed me. Why not? Wine is delicious, telling, warm, honest, sexy, seductive, social, satisfying, and the best friend a plate of good food could ever have. Well, I discovered quite a while ago that one of my favorite things was to share my knowledge and experiences about wine at seminars and dinners and tastings. But I found that I wasn't getting to a lot of people who just wanted a good, solid, quick wine education. Quick being the operative word. And then the light bulb lit up. A podcast. Bingo. So I'm happy to bring you the first episode of Wine in 9. I hope you enjoy it. Salute.
You found us. You're tuned in to Wine in 9, where all you need to learn about wine in 9 minutes or less. Here's your host, Bob Cappuccino.
You know, today I wanted to talk to you about Amarone. They're fantastic to enjoy with a meal or just to sip and savor. They're also one of the best wines to enjoy if you want to have an alternative to, let's say, Chateauneuf du Pape, or maybe you just want to get daring or revolve your palate. But I realized that talking about many of the wines produced around the area in the region near Venice, like Amarone, it would be more fitting and useful, and I can get it into 9 minutes. So here we go, the wines of Valpolicella. There's Valpolicella, which is Valpolicella Classico, and Valpolicella Superiore. Amarone, which you may have heard of, Ricciotto della Valpolicella, quite rare, and Ripasso della Valpolicella, an offshoot of Amarone. All of these wines are crafted from blends of 3 or 4 grape varieties that are indigenous to the region. Corvina, which is the predominant grape and the largest component of every blend, Rondinella, Molinara, Ossoleta, and Negrar. Now each house has its own recipe, and that recipe can depend on which of these grapes grow best in the lands that they indeed farm. The simplest wines, which are Valpolicella Classico and Valpolicella Superiore, which is slightly higher in alcohol, are medium-bodied with a lovely combination of red berry fruit and spice. They're perfect for light meat or pasta dishes. And I find that this is a particular wine that is excellent to use when a recipe calls for a dry red wine because it has the spiciness and the fruitiness that when you reduce it, adds to the flavor of your dish. The most important wine is Amarone della Valpolicella. The name, in fact, means big bitter, but that belies the wine's inherent richness. Using the same blend of grapes as Valpolicella, though with slight adjustments of percentage for each variety, and that goes also from house to house, the winemakers use a method called the passimento. I'm going to explain that to you now. With a passimento, after the initial harvest to make Classico and Superiore, grapes are left a bit longer on the vine to ripen more fully. They're then harvested into shallow bins so grapes do not become crushed by the weight of the grapes above them, and the bins are then taken and placed in special barns where airflow, humidity, and temperature are controlled. Now interestingly, the grapes are left for 3 to 4 months to desiccate, which means they lose the moisture but without becoming sugary like raisins. Usually, sometime in January, the grapes are crushed and the somewhat dry fruit is fermented. Now, of course, we're going to get a lot less juice because we've allowed the moisture in the grape to dry out. Then they slowly ferment the must to control the process and fully convert the sugar to alcohol, and wines will finish around 15.5, even 16% alcohol. The wines are then aged 2 years in large casks, large oval casks we call botte in Italian. And if they're going to be reservas, they have to be aged for 4 years, and usually those wines are a combination of both casks and small barrels. Now, Amarone is traditionally served after a meal. The Italians call it a vino di meditazione, a wine of meditation, to enjoy with walnuts and chunks of Parmigiano, and good conversation. However, it is an excellent companion to roasted meats, venison, lamb, beef, big hearty dishes, big hearty meats. Other regions in Italy employ the appassimento process, which I just described to you. So look around if you like the late harvest style of wines. You might find one from Piemonte made with Barbera, or from Puglia, the heel of the boot, made with Primitivo or Negro Amaro. Give them a try. An offshoot of Amarone is Recioto della Valpolicella. Reccia is a dialect word for ears. In this case, the grapes at the top of each bunch, which are sweetest because they're more exposed to sunlight, and these are used to make the wine. Now, the wine is made like Amarone, but instead of letting all the sugar ferment and the wine become dry, the process is halted to retain the sweet grapiness and slight residual sugar. It's a perfect dessert wine. Enjoy it with a piece of gorgonzola and apple slices, or with dark chocolate. It's kind of like a ruby port that hasn't been fortified with brandy. It's rare and expensive. You won't find a lot of them around. And they usually come in smaller bottles, more like 500 milliliter, maybe even 375 milliliters. But it's the perfect gift for the wine aficionado in your life. If they've never heard of it and they like dessert wines, this is a great surprise for people. Now, in a true measure of Italian ingenuity and an obsession to wring the most out of any situation, Ripasso del Valpolicella was created by the prestigious Masi wine family in order to create a wine that bridged the gap from the mild Valpolicella Classico to the bold Amarone. Now, when Amarone has been made and it's been moved from the tank and put into cask, Valpolicella Superiore of the new vintage is pumped over the Amarone dregs and lees. The word rappisare means to pass over again, ripasso. So we're going to basically pass the new wine, the new Valpolicella, through the must of the spent Amarone. After a few weeks steeping, the wine picks up weight, rich flavors, and color. Now sometimes people will call this baby Amarone, but no, that's wrong. It's not a lesser Amarone. It would be better described as Valpolicella on steroids. It's perfect with hearty stews, grilled steaks, and of course, really nice hard cheese. If you enjoy Zinfandel, by the way, you'll appreciate Ripasso. I suggest you give these wines a try, and you might even want to try each of the different levels so you really get to appreciate exactly what the people in Valpolicella are trying to produce. Amarone is very special, and it's a wine that you can buy and you can keep in your cellar and you'll be rewarded as it ages. Whereas Classico and Superiore are wines to take home and drink them. I'm Bob Cappuccino. Thank you for listening. Give them a shot. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them.
Thanks for listening to Wine in 9. We hope we used your 9 minutes wisely. If so, or if not, please let us know. Give us your feedback, good, bad, whatever. We'd love to hear from you. Look for Wine in 9 across social media. We're at winein9.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So grab a glass and join, subscribe, download, tweet, whichever you choose. Or you can go to our home base at winein9.com. Want to email? We're at info@winein9.com.